Welcome to Sub-Zero build, you chill bastards. One of my favorite gaming characters can be created in Pathfinder in many ways, depending what you want to focus on. Sub-Zero version in this build is oriented towards being reliable at hard difficulties, such as hard difficulty where all of the footage was recorded. Focusing on more reliable unarmed strikes or better spells is the question. If you want to go for more spell options and higher level ones becoming available, unarmed attacks will suffer, and vice versa. I think this is most balanced version because of enough attack roll bonuses, decent amount of reliable spells and overall good effectiveness across the board.
Don't hold back!
Starting off with Human Sword Saint with Dexterity and Intelligence being primary attributes. Alignment needs to be lawful, so Monk is available. This is our base class that is going to be multi-classed into Eldritch Knight Prestige later. For difficulties lower than hard, you can play Elemental Wizard as the main class with only one level into Magus for spell combat. This grants many more spell options in the end, but less unarmed effectiveness. For core and higher, this Sub-Zero is recommended. One level into Monk grants Flurry of Blows, and one Blood Rager level grants Blood Rage and Martial Weapon Proficiency. In this case we went with Sword Saint subclass that works great for the build, but doesn't have Martial Weapon Proficiency required for Eldritch Knight Prestige class. By combining Magus and Eldritch Knight we get many more fighter combat feats with higher basic attack bonus, leading to much more reliable melee fighter with Magus spells up to level 6 being available. At first, before multiclassing into Eldritch Knight, I have been focusing more on spell feats because Eldritch Knight offers more combat feats. That is how everything we need can be acquired. Mythic feats and abilities should look something like this. Additional feat can be weapon specialization mythic unarmed, and ability can be limitless rage or unrelenting assault. When it comes to mythic path, almost any works. Leech has Eclipse feat that fits into the build fantastic, Azata has superpower favorable magic, Trickster always works, Angel too. Watch for Demon path as they grow claws during rage which overrides unarmed attacks. If you go with Legend later, then it allows for maxing Monk and Magus with many other possible choices. Important item is Amulet of Agile Fists that can be found and bought from vendors. It boosts unarmed attacks and adds dexterity to damage. Other stuff is typical, like Dexterity Belt, Intelligence Circlet, Ring of Protection. This cloak ain't half bad because it adds +2 to DC for evocation spells. Spellbook should look something like this. Level 6 spellbook page should consist mostly of bolstered Cone of Cold. Frigid Touch and Cone of Cold work best with this build. How to play Sub-Zero? First, get mage armor through either scrolls, potions, or by having another party member cast it on you. That way Archmage armor mythic boost is applied since Magus doesn't have mage armor on its spell list. Buff yourself with haste, displacement, mirror image shield, vampiric shield, and turn on blood rage when needed against tougher enemies. Watch out for perfect strike and perfect critical abilities. They can drain arcane pool really fast. I tend not to use them that much unless against bosses. Prescient attack is must-have ability because it makes attacks target flat-footed armor class instead of total armor class. Insanely good. This needs to be active at all times almost, and that is why arcane pull points are needed. One activation lasts for 2 rounds. Eldritch Knight level 10 brings to the table passive that allows casting of any spell as swift action after crit has been scored. So next round after crit we can cast 2 spells and have full round of attacks. Pretty damn good. Turn on Spellblade and Spellstrike and have at it. Cast Frigid Touch, Dragon Breath, Silver and Cone of Cold next to unarmed attacks each round. Frigid Touch works with Spellstrike, which means it adds another free melee attack, and Frigid Touch also staggers enemies. Very useful. That is it really, not difficult to play, but you have to be careful with Perfect Strike and Perfect Critical not to drain Arcane Pool. Thanks for watching, enjoy!